Alright, good morning guys. We're back at it with the JZX90 Chaser. Cresta, not Chaser. I've got more panels to paint. Fortunately, over the weekend I was able to find front and rear lip and side skirts, brand new, for this car. So I'm really stoked on that because the other parts that I had for it, I didn't even have a front lip, and I posted up looking for a front lip. Turns out the guy had everything I needed for the car, so thank you very much for that deal. These are the skirts I had. This one I'd already sanded and it's still pretty rough. This one has a bunch of fiber fill on it still and fiberglass on the back. They definitely will work, but I still had a lot of work to do to them and I don't have a lot of time. So I'm really glad I can just scuff and spray these, and then I'll save those as spares. And then the rear lip we'd already worked on. It was in 2 pieces and Mike glassed it back together for me. So this will definitely be a good rear lip to have, but it's not the one that I'm going to use for now. So that was a major score for that kit. So basically I just need to scuff and spray some more parts. A lot of these we already did primer on, so I just have to hit them with 400. Then we can start getting color down. But these other parts I still need to prep, primer, sand. So I want to have all these parts painted tonight so that they can dry. Then I can start doing assembly, start bolting stuff on, put the trim back on, the windows back in the doors, all that stuff. And fit the rear fenders, riv nuts to get those mounted up and everything. Still a lot of work, but things are cruising along pretty nicely. And then once that's all done, I got to get the motor running, get the new dash, headliner, cage, all that stuff back in, and get this thing looking really good and running. I don't want to tow it home not running. I may have to, but I don't want to. So I finally got around to getting the rear fenders trimmed. I figured I might as well trim them and fit them before I paint them. That way I'm not cutting on fresh paint. I just hope they fit good with the door. These are N-style flares. I imagine they're specific to the Cresta because they fit pretty dang good. I just had to trim a little bit right here, but it fits up pretty good. And then these little tabs on the back, these mounting tabs, right here and right there. I actually had to trim the angle of them. So, you know, if that's the angle, I had to trim them a little bit steeper because it was creating a little gap against the body. So by trimming those, it allowed this to sit flush up top here. Yeah, you see that little gap? Push it in, it takes up that gap. It was definitely sitting out until I grind them down. So what we're going to do is we're going to put riv nuts behind them. I'll probably do that after they're painted. Once I have the doors on, I'll know exactly how they fit. What I don't want is the door scraping against this when it shuts and then leaving these big marks that you see. That's what happens on my S13 skirts. I'll shut the door and it pinches the skirt in on this part. Then it leaves a big scratch along here. And when the door's closed, you'll see all that part of it. So if it ends up being scratched right there, you would see it totally from right here. So that's what I got to make sure is that fits with the door. If you see, it's almost concave, like it comes up and goes back down. So I'm worried if the door skims across the top and then fits in that little nook. May not look good. So I'm gonna wait until after these are painted to figure that out. It's probably a bad idea, but I need to get painting stuff. I don't have time to be doing all this, and that's usually what ends up burning me in the end, but I'm gonna do it either way. Alright, so we're gonna have to spray 2 separate rounds because not enough stuff fits in the booth, and by the time we spray sealer, we have to go ahead and spray base coat and clear coat. So all of it will flash properly at the right time. So this is our first batch. Basically the fenders, rear overs, front rear bumper, front rear lips, side skirts. And the next batch is just going to be doors, and that's pretty much it. Doors and front bumper. we're using is a sealer. It's like a dark gray sealer. And then after about 15 minutes, then we spray a base coat, mix up the clear coat, and then shoot that. And then probably about, what, an hour to dry before we move them out?
Yeah, about an hour or two, depending on if it's still 70 degrees, the sun's going down.
Oh, yeah. So you're saying when I was sanding, we should have been painting instead of sanding?
Yeah.
During the day? But,
It's gonna work against this stuff, if it's drying too fast.
Oh, yeah.
Drying the board kid.
It's alright. I think the way the car turned out, I think will turn out pretty well. The rest of it, just hope it matches. And I could end up cutting and buffing it. That's a possibility too. So we'll see how it goes. So it's another all-nighter. It's like 9 a.m. now. And we're gonna... we've got that much stuff left to do. Most of the parts are sprayed. All the important parts are sprayed. Doors look really good. Yeah. Trunk, doors, front lip, all that stuff. All that's missing now is the mirrors and the spoiler and the door handles. I almost forgot about door handles, but Mike reminded me that we need door handles. Pulled out the headliner, because I'm going to wrap that. Once the headliner's wrapped, I can bolt it back in, put the roll cage in, start putting some of the interior stuff back together, put the dash in, stuff like that. So I'll be working on that later today. Right now, I haven't slept at all, but I'm going to go straight to the house, jump in the van with the family and head to the beach. I'm probably just going to take a nap all day, but I've got a bunch of mechanical parts I can do also. I've got the water pump, fuel pressure regulator, fuel lines, power steering pump, stuff like that that I can start assembling on this car to make it run, which is stuff that needs to get done anyways, but kind of bouncing back between getting the bodywork and paint stuff done and getting the mechanical stuff done. So I'm going to call that a night, a day, whatever you want to call it. And then back at it again. Got the panels out of the booth. We still have this stuff to spray, but oh yeah, so I rounded up a bunch of the parts that we took apart at Colton's house. We've got the taillights, the headlights, a bunch of trim and stuff in the truck, the dash, the door panels. And I was just thinking about it as I'm putting stuff together. One of the most satisfying parts for me after doing a paint job is putting stuff back together. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you guys understand. It's just super satisfying to see things come together. No tape lines and stuff. So like when I put this trim on and pound it into place, you got like this nice black trim, no tape, no overspray, nothing. Fits over that. You can't see any of the seams or anything. Really good. I love it. We put the trunk in place. Of course, once the taillights come together, end up on the car and the headlights and stuff, it just starts to look really good. It starts to come together and look like a car. Even just like these little kick panels, is that what you call them? Door trim pieces. Just snapping those on. Super rewarding, super satisfying. So that's the point that we're at right now. We're gonna get this stuff all prepped and get it ready to go in the booth and spray. And I'm gonna keep going, putting parts on the car. The satisfying part, for sure. So I've got this lower rear trim. I'm just gonna wipe it down with a detailing rag. Ooh, a greasy detailing rag at that. Basically just getting the dust off of it. Snap it into place. I was also super impressed with these 20-year-old Toyota clips that we were able to, no, 25-year-old Toyota clips that we were able to get all these pieces out without breaking anything. That was pretty cool. And then I'm gonna go get the door molding and then put that together. And then of course I labeled everything so I wouldn't have to fight with it. This is driver rear. Super important, super good idea to label all your stuff. Saves you a bunch of time. And then I find this corner that's already pre-bent, and I'm gonna put it up in this corner. I start from that corner so I don't have to I don't have to fight it when I get to that point. Super satisfying. Just follow the curve and just tap it in. And this bottom curve lines right up. Perfect, love it. Satisfying. Alright, so I've just been working away, getting the trim installed. I ended up painting these like windshield trim pieces. I got the dash installed here. This was after Amber and I spent hours wrapping it, and after it's been sitting a little bit, the glue doesn't look like it's working very well. So like it's starting to sag in places. And then some of the glue like came through the fabric and looks a little bit stained. Overall, it's like a 5 out of 10 job. But it actually looks pretty good in the car. It's just not like show quality. For the effort we put into it, I expected a lot better than what it is. But tomorrow the doors should be dry enough that I can start putting the door handles in and stuff like that. Get the doors hung on the car. Put the glass in there. Put these window trim pieces back in there after the glass. Some stuff like that. Lots to do. But I'm tired. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. See you guys tomorrow.